Businesses hit by a record wave of lawsuits in connection with Americans with a Disability Act. In particular, lawsuits that allege websites are not ADA compliant. 1,000 such lawsuits actually filed this year alone, just so far this year, 2018. More this year than in all of 2017.
Hello, you may have arrived at this video as a result of being sued individually or your business being sued for ADA accessibility violations. There are more than 100 lawsuits a month filed in California alleging businesses are not in compliance with applicable ADA access requirements.
The spotlight is on websites. 2,285 ADA website lawsuits were filed in federal courts in 2018, a yearly increase of a whopping 181%.
Number one, take the lawsuit seriously. This is not a scam. This is what the law allows to happen at the current time. There is no grandfather provision or other protection for your business, so take the lawsuit seriously.
One of the lawyers who crunched the numbers on this show joins us now, Min Vu with Seyfarth Shaw. Min, welcome to the program. Good to see you.
Thank you.
First of all, in what way is a website non-ADA compliant?
Well, so websites have to be designed and constructed in a way that is accessible to people with disabilities.
Right.
So people who are blind, for example, use screen reader software, and that has to interact with the website. And if the website is not designed to interact with it properly, it's not going to work.
So a blind person could sue the website and say, you're not taking care of me under the terms of the Act. I want you to make sure you get it right and pay me some money. Is that how it works?
Pretty much, yes. The website doesn't have to speak to them. It's the fact that the website has to be compatible with the screen reader software that then reads the content and functionality to the person who's blind. I mean, put it this way. Everything's online now, right? And so it is very difficult to basically do anything without being able to be on a website and be able to access it. So those are legitimate concerns, and there are lots of advocates who are legitimately concerned.
Contact a lawyer who is knowledgeable and experienced in handling matters of this type. There are only a handful of attorneys in the state of California whose primary practice is defending businesses sued for ADA accessibility violations.
The problem is that many of the plaintiffs' lawyers have figured out that the vast majority of businesses don't have an accessible website because everybody was kind of caught with their pants down.
Right.
You know, there are no regulations on this, and the courts have started to basically come out saying, yes, you know, your website has to be accessible. So everybody's caught kind of unaware, and these plaintiffs' lawyers are taking advantage.
Obtain an accessibility evaluation of your property. The only way to prevent a lawsuit like this from happening again is if the property is in compliance. The first step is to obtain an evaluation, develop a plan to implement those changes. They do have to be made in order to prevent the property from being sued again. In our experience, we've had one property sued 3 separate times for the same type of violations. Make sure you implement the plan and make the changes that are in the report. They do need to be made to give you the protection from this happening again. View this as a business problem, as any other problem your business may face. It will take business judgment and a decision-making process to solve this moving forward.
If every single website has to be ADA compliant, that's wildly expensive, isn't it?
It's really expensive, absolutely. I mean, you know, you think about how many millions of websites there are out there. I don't even think there are enough consultants to help people. This is not something you and I can just figure out.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah,
okay,
it's not.
So the lawyer files the suit and says, you're not compliant. What does the lawyer say? Make your website compliant and or give me money? Is that how it works?
No, usually they ask for give me money and make the website compliant.
Give me money and make it.
Yes.
So punitively, you give me money. And does the lawyer
it's more that, okay, the ADA allows lawyers to get their attorney's fees if they win.
Okay.
So as part of the settlement, you're going to have to pay their fees, but sometimes those fees don't necessarily have anything to do with actual time spent.
From large corporations to mom and pop businesses, most have a website. But did you know your website could be a sitting duck for a lawsuit that could cost you tens of thousands of dollars? Business websites, just like the physical locations, are required under the Americans with Disabilities Act to be accessible.
And that includes customers who are blind or deaf. 8 on Your Side investigator Shannon Bankin joins us now. And Keith and I were so interested when we heard you were doing this story, because I don't think a lot of businesses even think about this being a possibility.
This is something so many businesses haven't heard of. I've been hearing from them all day. But if your website isn't accessible, those who are visually or hearing impaired can't use the site. And some of those people are fighting back. I found disabled activists filing ADA website lawsuits by the stackful. Ben Tundis and Donna Dansel own Island Comfort Footwear in Westfield Countryside Mall in Clearwater.
And this is my shipping area where I do my web orders.
They decided to expand by selling their shoes online. They launched a website, and then, bam, a lawsuit.
Summons on a Thursday night at 8 o'clock at night in the dark. Got a knock on the door.
A blind woman in South Florida claims their website isn't compatible with screen reading software used by the visually impaired, leaving her unable to buy their shoes.
It's a $65 a month website. You know, it's
Was there ever any mention on what you need to do to make sure you're ADA compliant?
absolutely not. No mention at all.
When most business owners think ADA, they think handicap parking spots, ramps, and grab bars in restrooms. ADA lawsuits are nothing new. But now, the spotlight is on websites. The woman who sued the Clearwater shoe store has gone after 175 businesses in the past 2 years, shown here by all of these lawsuits. First, she went after big names like Sephora, Home Depot, and Chick-fil-A. Now, she has sued a store that sells Tampa Bay Lightning gear inside Amalie Arena. Critics call these mass lawsuits a shakedown.
The attorneys are telling us, we spoke to many, they're saying you can't fight this. If you fight this, you're going to quadruple your bill. There's nothing you can do, just write them a check.
Companies settle because there's no defense to ignoring ADA requirements. Ms. Fuller's attorney tells me his client is an advocate fighting to improve society, and these lawsuits are not going away.
$49.72 link.
To better understand the struggle facing the blind, I sat down with Louise Payton, a Tampa woman who uses a screen reader to do things like shop,
Suspected Seminole Heights serial killer speaks.
read the news,
Enter email or phone edit.
and use Facebook. When websites don't have the correct codes to communicate with her software, she's excluded.
Terms, link, prime, not a robot, checkbox, not checked.
It has to be really frustrating. You get this far and you can't get past that one thing.
Exactly.
But if you add this feature that allows the blind to read, is that a lot more money? Is that?
It could be, depending on how complicated your site is. A simple site, I talk to folks who do audits, $1,600 to audit your site, more money, you know, to make sure that it is compatible. So it can add up, but you're also, you know, you're following the law and you're opening up for potential customers that otherwise wouldn't be able to use your site. The woman has sued 175 businesses.
But now they're attacking mom and pop stores, I guess you would call it, small business owners. You know, we just can't write some big check and walk away.
Under the ADA, businesses that are open to the public cannot discriminate against people with disabilities. In recent years, lawyers have won or settled thousands of cases over website accessibility. Even so, as Sean Wormuth of 1305 Creative tells me, many website developers are not aware of these requirements.
Or if you build a building, it has to be ADA compliant, and there's an inspector who comes out and tells you, hey, this light switch isn't right, or this door handle isn't right. So you know exactly what is and isn't. With a website, it's the Wild West. We don't know.
The ADA doesn't specify how websites should be ADA accessible, but there are industry standards recognized by courts.
This is an area of concern.
However, Chris M. Law of Accessibility Track says those standards are rarely included in basic website templates businesses buy.
If you're a small business owner and you're going to have your parking lot redone, nobody is going to ask you any questions about the blue paint for the wheelchair spaces. It's all just built in.
Not the case with websites.
The onus for accessibility is on the small business owner, not on the people that provide the services.
I probably could have gone into the businesses and said, I'm giving you 2 weeks to fix these issues, and then I'll sue.
Tonight, Target 7 talks to the woman at the center of 99 lawsuits filed against Albuquerque businesses. She is using the Americans with Disabilities Act to legally file suits to force businesses to comply with those rules. But after Target 7 and Nancy Laughlin's story last week raised some tough questions, the woman admits she was recruited to find businesses she could help sue.
A fight for accessibility or personal profit. I-Team investigator Katie Legron's ongoing series into excessive ADA lawsuits discovers Florida business owners are now being sued over an ADA violation you've probably never heard of.
If you think the ADA is limited to ramps and parking spaces, meet Louise Payton.
Blank, which is your favorite city park?
Which is your favorite city park?
Blind since birth, she's learned to navigate the world without sight.
Hit this letter.
Account information.
And the World Wide Web is no exception.
Every day I'm online.
Wrapping to top.
Doing something with the paper.
Heading level 1, the new web track.
The internet.
Tab.
I even read the Wall Street Journal.
Tab. All tab. Type in text.
A screen reader literally reads websites to Louise.
I-Teen :
But a new wave of lawsuits filed in the Sunshine State reveal many Florida businesses are dark to the disabled.
Oh, come on. Why is it not showing up? You might as well be locked out.
Our latest investigation into excessive ADA lawsuits uncovers Florida business owners are now being sued for having websites that are not ADA compliant. While the majority are being filed in South Florida by the same Miami-based attorney, numbers show these web suits are on the rise, from just a couple in 2015 to more than 130 a year later.
Follow the money.
Florida Representative Tom Leaks believes it's the next era in ADA abuse.
If there's a new way to gin up a lawsuit and to get themselves into a point of leverage where they can collect attorney's fees, they'll find it.
I think it's an easy way for lawyers to pursue ADA lawsuits.
Scott Trachtenberg knows all about it. His small business was sued over it 3.5 years ago.
When I was served, my initial reaction was surprise, frustration.
But after spending thousands of dollars to make his website ADA compliant, Scott realized something bigger.
I am yet to meet anybody that's aware of this.
What happened? It's not showing up.
A new wave of ADA lawsuits sparking the same old debate.
There are times when I've gotten frustrated and just walked away from a website because I couldn't access it.
Are these cases advocating accessibility for people like Louise Payton?
Check radio button, not check Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Or personal profit for those who file them?
Hi there, Al here, and today I want to show you a demo of our system. In this video, you will learn how AI-powered technology makes any website accessible and compliant with the WCAG, the ADA, and the EU regulations. On top of that, I will show you how it maintains compliance at all times, even on websites that update daily. But most importantly, I'll demonstrate how it enables a wide array of people with disabilities to browse through your website effectively. So let's find out how it works. It includes two different components that work simultaneously to make your website compliant. The first is our foreground application, which is responsible for simple adjustments relating mostly to UI. These constitute about 30% of the requirements and include readable fonts, sizing, spacing, color contrasts, cursors, emphases, and others. A few other examples include pausing animations and flashing GIFs, which is crucial for people with epilepsy. There's a built-in dictionary for people with cognitive disorders, and an on-screen virtual keyboard for the motor impaired. There are many other small features that you can discover directly on our interface, so I suggest we move on to the next step. The second component is our background application responsible for the more complex requirements, and this is where the magic happens. It includes screen reader and keyboard navigation functionalities, which are most commonly used by blind people and the motor impaired. They constitute about 70% of the required adjustments stated in the WCAG and the ADA. To make these adjustments, it utilizes machine learning techniques to analyze and learn your website structure, functionality, and widgets. Pop-ups, drop-downs, forms, validations, and menus are all included in this process. Then, it applies different behaviors as well as ARIA attributes according to best practices and guidelines. Not only that, it utilizes image recognition and OCR technologies to provide accurate text descriptions for images. This happens on the fly within seconds. Okay, so we've covered the technical aspects operating in the background to make your website accessible and compliant. Now let's talk about time. The process takes up to 48 hours from implementation to the point when your website is compliant and accessible. Once done, we'll rescan and reanalyze your website every 24 hours to ensure that all new content, widgets, pages, or anything else you add is also adapted and thereby compliant with the WCAG and ADA standards at any given time. Finally, you'll also get an accessibility statement right within the interface available to anyone. This statement doubles as a certification providing details about the website's level of accessibility, browser compatibility, adjustments that have been made, instructions on how to report issues, and more. So, impressive, isn't it? We didn't even mention the quick navigation feature that allows anyone to reach any page from anywhere at any time, the 8 built-in languages, reading mode, our built-in feedback form, accessible printing mode, numerous customization options, and many other great features. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed our demo and hope to see you joining us soon.